What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's Will and John here, the MMA Huddle, back for another week, another set of predictions, some more betting advice, whatever it may be. We just keep on rolling here. It's like one week after the other, and we're keeping on going. And a lot of fun fight cards, a lot of fun predictions that have been out there. So, yeah, looking forward to talking about this card, which is going to be on a Friday night, guys. So don't come to Saturday night and looking through your listings and like, oh, where's the UFC? And it's already past you. So listen, will be doing that on Friday night. UFC on ESPN 6. Reyes versus Weidman from Boston, Massachusetts. Always a good fight down there. Before we start getting into that, like, comment, subscribe. If you like the content, give us a thumbs up. If you like what we're putting out, give us hit that button at the top there, subscribe. John's doing interviews like he had with Mason Jones, Conor McCann last week for Cage Warriors. So yeah, and there is more things to come. John's did a couple of interviews since then, and he's probably going to have a few more coming soon enough. So there's going to be plenty more stuff coming to the channel. But yeah, just like, comment, subscribe if you can. We'll try and get back to you as soon as we can. Coming off a bumper-filled weekend of kind of MMA. Slightly mentioned Cage Warriors there. There was the PFL. There was a really good UFC card, I thought. And then we're moving on to this one here. There's no point in really going back and looking at it too much. I thought Joanna looked great. John, is there anything you want to take away for the weekend?
Yeah, I thought Joanna looked great considering she apparently broke her foot in maybe the second or third round. That's huge because, we saw with Demetrius Johnson, it affected his whole fight game when he busted his foot. Joanna was able to adapt to it, and that showed, some good movement. It looks like Tatiana Suarez is still injured. She might need surgery on her neck. So it does look like maybe JJ's going to get another stab back at the belt, and Suarez might end up fighting Rose. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
Kind of makes sense. I wounn't mind like Joanna against Weili Zhang because if you've got this new girl from China who's just blew Andrade out of the water, and then you've got the girl who's pretty much, she was the face of the division for 3 years and still a big star in that division and in the sport relatively. A lot of support. She beats her then and she just takes a lot more following as well. So a couple of things that I like from the previous weekend. Mason Jones, guys, if you don't know who this guy is at Cage Warriors, just go to UFC Fight Pass. I think pretty much all of his fights are on there, and there's not a boring fight with this guy. Getting better, not taking as many shots, but he still takes some shots. But the guy's fighting is unbelievable. It's like he's one of the most fun fighters in MMA, period. So if you don't watch Cage Warriors, make a bit of time and go back and watch some of these fights because the guy's just all action. And the only other thing I'm going to talk about from last week is Mike Davis, Thomas Gifford.
Oh no!
I was thinking, do I bring this up? But it's like it's kind of been on my mind since Saturday night, because that, like, with MMA fights, there's always the potential that the line could be crossed. I said this on Twitter the other day there, where it could potentially be crossed, and sometimes you get really close to it. This fight completely blew that line and blew it miles away. That dude I think that fight should have been stopped after pretty much the first round. Well, a minute or two of the second. So that guy took an extra 5 to 7 minutes worth of damage. The referee was an absolute letdown. How that guy can be officiating fights, I have no idea. I'm glad that they pulled him out of the Price Vic fight that he was supposed to do. Mark Montoya, which I was really surprised at, Factory X, he's like a really good head coach, and he had the opportunity to pull that guy at the end of the second, didn't do it. And then what made it even worse was the fact that Thomas Gifford's dad was in his corner and let his son go out to that.
Yeah.
He suffered a vicious knockout, and Gifford's come out and said, I don't blame anybody, it was on me. And he's a fighter, I can see that, but you've got to look out for your fighter. And he wasn't looked out by the officiating team, his dad, and his corner team. So it was rough. That was a rough thing to watch.
Yeah. Especially when you're concussed, because he probably most likely was kind of concussed, so he wouldn't have acknowledged the kind of beating he was taking in the fight. And in the moment, the adrenaline's pumping through, he might not notice how bad it is. And that's why you need, like you say, your cornerman, your dad, or someone to say, dude, I'm going to be honest with you, man. He ain't looking good right now, and let's save it for another day. Why not fight another day?
Like, when I watch these fights, if something like that, it was a beautiful knockout.
Yeah.
I genuinely felt sick. Like I would jump off and like, or I record it on my phone or something. I felt like I didn't want to look at the TV. I didn't want to see the aftermath of what happened, and I was just like, I was actually, and that doesn't happen to me all that often because I've been watching for a long time. But I genuinely felt that was just a bad spot altogether, and hopefully we don't. It's very rare that you see stuff like that, especially in the UFC. So here's hoping we never see something like that again. Guy's too tough for his own good and took a lot of damage in that one. Hopefully he's okay. He says he's okay, but yeah, the lasting damage we'll maybe see soon enough. But yeah, UFC Boston. Time to get through this here. And I'm just going off what I see on Wikipedia at the minute and kind of going through that. This fight, I'm guessing, will not be the opening fight of the night, but it's just on the announced bounce one, so I'm going to go with that. So it's Brendan Allen making his UFC debut against the big mouth Kevin Holland in the middleweight division. How do you see it playing out, John?
It almost feels like it's a bit of a long-awaited debut for Brendan Allen. He's kind of been on the top end of the regional scene, let's say, with LFA for a while. He fell short a couple of times to some strong opponents, and then obviously came on to Dana White, wasn't he? He was on Dana White Tennessee, was that?
Yes, he was.
And performed there. So he kind of took the opportunity with both hands, got the fight against. Do you know what? Kevin Holland's a solid opponent to have. You know, Kevin Holland's come in there. He's got a couple of decisions, tight fight, but he has come in and got the wins. He's on a 3-fight win streak. So in the middleweight division, that's a good go. That's a good going for you if you're middleweight. So there's a couple of factors that will play into this. You know, experience for Kevin Holland in the UFC will play a factor over Brendan Allen. You know, that first kind of bout, the adrenaline dump that could potentially happen for Brendan. I think I'm kind of swaying towards Kevin Holland slightly here, but I'm going to go split decision potentially again for Kevin Holland. He has a way to somehow get the wins, but I'm never overly convinced. And I just feel like he somehow is doing enough on a judge's view to get these wins. And his last two fights, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I need to see him every week. Against Gerald Mershak and Talicio Di... It's not Chirico?
Chirico,
yeah. It's pronounced Chirico.
Yeah.
Always bloody forget that. But I think he should get a win over Brendan Allen here, just as probably a split decision, but I'm not overly confident. I think he'll be able to get enough points each round to just kind of get ahead of, and I think the second and third will be the big rounds for him. If I'm Brendan, I'm wanting to try and keep the pace on Kevin Holland here, keep him on the back foot, but I think Kevin's going to have a good fight here and be able to actually keep the points ahead of him with landing just enough strikes, and just even with the grappling exchange against the cage, I think Kevin could do well. So I'm going to go Kevin Holland here, but I think Brendan's going to be a fantastic addition to the middleweights in the UFC going forward, especially as well.
He just fights far too close for comfort. He gets too comfortable.
He does.
And it's like, I think he's got a lot of potential, I really do, but he gives his opponent so many opportunities to stay relevant and fight. Like the John Phillips fight, he was beating his ass, and then he gave John Phillips the opportunity to throw heavy leather, which John Phillips likes to do, and get hit with a couple of shots. I was like, be careful, gets the fight to the ground, eventually gets the sub. Meerschaert outstriking him pretty much, but then he just lets him take him down at will. And like Jeremy Meerschaert in that one, Jeremy Meerschaert's actually got a couple of fights where, especially this weekend against Anders as well, he must have felt a little bit aggrieved that he kind of lost that one as well. Like Meerschaert, if he got the decision that one, I wouldn't have complained one bit, because he did more. Holland sat back a little bit too much, and then the Chirico one, he kind of did the same thing again. He let the Chirico kind of fight close on that fight when he had to be. So I think he's got a lot of potential, but he fights too close. Allen is a guy, like, he's still relatively young. He's been around for a little bit in the regionals, coming up through LFA. I think he won a belt, had some 5-round fights, so he's got a lot of experience. He had the Dana White Contender show. I think he fights out, is it Rufus Sport when he says that? Yeah. So he's at a great gym, coming from a great gym. And he's probably got an opportunity against Kevin Holland here, because, like I say, Kevin Holland seems to give you opportunities every fight. It's funny, because when you watch his regional fights, Kevin Holland back in the day, he was a lot more cerebral. A lot more of a kind of the bully mentality, but this time he, like in the UFC, he's kind of sat back a little bit much, and that kind of throws me off a little bit. I think he's got a little bit too much here for Brendan Allen's debut, but would it surprise me if Brendan Allen gets a decision here? Probably not, because Kevin Holland's he dicks around too much for my liking. So I'm going to take Kevin Holland via another kind of decision in that one there as well. So I've lost my there it is there. Sorry. Moving on, heavyweight division. Daniel Spitz, Tanner Boser. For me, the way I kind of see this fight is Daniel Spitz has the more opportunities to finish the fight. And if he doesn't do that early on, I think that Tanner Boser later in the fight is going to come into it a lot more. He's not really a finisher as Tanner Boser. For a heavyweight, he's more of a durable, kind of grind you down style. Hard-nosed guy, he's hard to finish himself. Went over to Russia, lost a couple of good guys over there, never really looked out of place. But like I say, Daniel Spitz has got all the... I want to see, what is the difference?
6'7".
6'7".
6'7",
yeah. Let me check out the
lanky boy.
Yeah, a big boy, and like I think
Tanner's like 6'2". I think Tanner's 6'2" off the top of my head.
He's got a 7-inch reach advantage in this spot here. Has Daniel Spitz, and he is a big boy, like 5 inches in the height as well. But if he doesn't really use that, then I think that Tanner Boser's going to get into him, put him against the cage, and like basically grind him out across 15 minutes. That's kind of how I see it. I don't see it's heavyweights. So Daniel Spitz could knock him out in the first couple of rounds, I suppose. But I think as the fight goes on, I think Tanner Boser's just going to grind him down and beat him by decision. But Spitz, I think he comes from a football background, so he might be harder to take down than at the start. But I think as he gets more tired, Tanner Boser could get him down and kind of lay him, prey on him a little bit. So I've got Tanner Boser via decision. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Spitz.
Oh.
I think Spitz can... He showed... In Mark Godbeer fight, he was showing some good moments, but I just think Boser's not a powerful guy in the striking department. He's not someone you're fearful of. I find him quite tentative. In his matches, he's quite patient. He throws a lot of fakes. He seems to have a good spring in his step. But I just feel like he's waiting for something that's not going to happen. It's almost like he has a game plan in his head. Like, I'm going to finish with this right straight. But I need that guy to throw that left hand and then my right straight. And if it doesn't happen, it seems like he's waiting for that perfect punch. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's just a technical thing. Like you said, Will, he went to Russia, and the fights that he had there, the guys would get on top of him. He was okay. He didn't look like he was too damaged. He was smart on his back. I just think Spitz in this fight should now be comfortable in the UFC to use the reach, to use the straight punches, and he should realise that because he's so long, there's actually a lot of power in those punches. When he elongates that arm and just really extends it out, there's a lot more leverage in that punch, so there's a lot more power there than he thinks. And if I'm, like I say, I'm like you, Will, I think if Boser gets the fight down, he should try to get the fight down. That's his game plan. Close that distance, close that range, and just bull rush him and get the fight down. But I'm going to go with Spitz. I just think that he'll end up, I think it'll be a 3-round fight. I think Boser's quite durable, and I think Spitz will just have that kick, that kind of front kick, head kick kind of stuff to keep the distance on Boser, just to keep him honest, really, for the 3 rounds, and throw the like, kind of 1-2s, just keep it basic if you Spitz. Throw the 1-2s, straight kick, step, circle round, off you go. So I'm going to decision win for Spitz.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, Court McGee welcomes newcomer Sean Brady to the UFC, undefeated Sean Brady at 10-0. How do you see this one going?
Man, Court McGee, he is on the latter stages of the career, really, let's be honest, folks. Lost that Diego Lima fight. I think he lost the fight. I wasn't overly impressed. You've got a guy in kind of Sean Brady he's done stuff with Duke, Rufus Sport, Henzo Academy. So the guy trained full time for a while. Even on the regional scene, he was training full time as a fighter. So I'm not sure what helped him do that. Whether he got good sponsors, he was lucky enough to get that, etc. So
I think Paul Felder took him under his wing.
Ah, right. That's what it'll be. Okay.
I think Paul Felder took him under his wing and is one of the guys that looks out for him. So I think that's where he gets. I think he's always been a full-time fighter and he's had some decent sponsors with him. Yeah. So yeah.
So it's kind of been handy for him. That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he shows a good bit of confidence on the feet. He shows some good striking, especially if he's doing stuff with Felder. He'll pick up quite a few bits. But he has got a little bit of holds game. But his ground game is what's good. You know, he's very good on the ground. He's solid ground game. He's got some good ground and pound, and that's where Court McGee wants to fight dirty. He wants dirty boxing, keep it tight. And Diego Lima was really good in the fight. I think Diego's blueprint was spot on with keeping Court from distance, keeping the long strikes. I think Sean's going to just take the fight Court to the ground, if I'm honest with you. I think he's going to hit him. He's going to light Court up on the feet for a bit. But when Court McGee starts to come in, bull rush, charging down, try to get those strikes landed, I think that's when Sean will time that takedown. And Sean gets on top. He'll start to apply the pressure with the ground and pound and the chokes and etc. and look for that submission win. But I do give Court McGee kudos. He is a bit durable. He can take a punch somehow. So I'm going to give him credit here. I'm going to say Sean Brady decision, but I am going for a Sean Brady win here. I think it's the perfect fight for someone to come into the UFC against. Someone like Court, where he's tough, he's durable, but he's not overly dangerous. He's not a knockout artist. He's not a submission specialist. He's just a tough guy that you can get good free rounds in the UFC under your belt. So I think he's a perfect guy. If I'm Sean Brady, I like this matchup. Gives me 15 minutes in the UFC cage. Gets me that. Get me out my first fight, and then I can start to go on from there. So I'm going Brady decision.
Yeah, I've knew about Sean Brady for a little bit of time. It's someone I've kind of had my eye on, coming through LFA specifically, and CWFC won that title there. But he's a guy that I've kind of known come up because he was undefeated as an amateur, he's undefeated as a pro, so he's undefeated as a fighter pretty much. I think he's just a very, very, very fluid fighter in every facet. He looks a really good fighter to me. I think that when you look at everything, he doesn't rush anything. I think he's striking, he mixes it up with his grappling, and then when he gets it to the bottom, even though out of his 10 wins he's only got 2 submissions, he's just fluid. He's just really solid in many, many aspects of the game. He's a black belt under Daniel Gracie, who I've heard from Paul Felder talk really highly of, and a lot of the guys in the East Coast of America talk really highly of him. But yeah, like I say, really a major threat on the floor, in my opinion. On the feet, I think he could do more, but everything he throws is very accurate, very precise. His footwork is very what's the word I'm looking for? It's like his footwork's really good, but you don't really notice it too much until you slow down and have a look. He's like always planning the next step ahead, and he seems to be in the right spot to miss getting punches and getting countered and so on. So he's really good with that. Really solid leg kicks, great cardio, but like I say, he's really good fight IQ. Just a really solid fighter. And like you said to start off with, Court McGee he's definitely at the tail end of his career. He's on his last legs, really, in the UFC. And now, when you look at this kind of fight card, they're kind of feeding all these youngsters coming into the UFC with older, established, named fighters, and they're trying. They're trying to build these new guys off the old guys now. So I think Sean Brady's just really, out of the newcomers on this show, I think he's the best one, in my opinion, that I see. I think he's really good, and I think over the course of 15 minutes, I think he's going to be too fast. I think he's going to be too good in many of the areas, but don't count out Court McGee. The one thing I'll say in this is he's a massive underdog, Court McGee, like a big betting underdog, and I wouldn't mind a shot on him at the prices that is plus 200. I think that's a little off.
I think it'll go up, I think I'll go like 2 plus 250 plus 300 come further in the week.
That wouldn't surprise me, but I think that honestly, that's high in my opinion for a UFC deal, because Court McGee's durable. He doesn't really get taken out unless you're a big elite striker like Ponzinibbio or somebody. But I've got Sean Brady to win via decision in this one. Looking forward to seeing him because, like I say, I've knew about him for a little bit, and now you've got the eyes of the UFC on him. So yeah, Randy Costa against Boston Salmon's up next. It's an interesting fight. When I was initially looking at it, I was kind of leaning Costa. But then you go back and watch his regional fights, and he's one of these guys that no matter where you come from in the world or community or whatever it is, you're going to have certain people that are going to support you, people that know you, people you grew up with. So in the Massachusetts area where he's from, he's got a lot of big support. So he's fighting at home here in Boston. He's not going to get any closer to fighting in his hometown than he is here. and he's got a big following in Massachusetts or where he's from. But I still think it's a little bit too early to have him in the UFC, in my opinion. I think that he's just a little green. But what the guy does, and what he did in his UFC fight against Brendan Davis, is he comes out and he throws, he swings. But until that kind of gasses him out, whether that was a UFC jitters type thing, he wanted to set the crowd up, get the crowd to pop for him, whatever. But once he started to fade, then the experience and the maturity of Brendan Davis showed up, got the takedown, and got the finish through there. When you look at Boston and Salmon, I've always really liked him watching his fights outside of the UFC. I thought his boxing was really good, his counter striking was really good. Then he comes out and gets absolutely smashed by Khalid Taha with a massive, massive shot. And then I look at this fight here, and I'm like, right, how does Randy Costa win? I was like, because he's one of these guys who's got these flashy kicks as well, so he leaves himself kind of open for counter striking. And Boston Salmon is a really good technical boxer. That's his bread and butter. Really, really good through that. If Randy Costa comes out and starts throwing big, heavy, looping shots, kicks, Boston Salmon is going to counter him, and he can counter him for 15 minutes and potentially get the knockout. And that's kind of where I see this going. I think Costa's, obviously he's fighting at home, he's going to want to win this one, but he's going to have all the pressure. It's pretty much on him. Both guys lost, so there's pressure on both sides, but I just think that Boston Salmon's counter-striking is going to win him this fight. I think he's going to land the cleaner shots. The thing is with this, Randy Costa could land the better-looking shots, though, and that might, if it goes to a judge's decision, that might play in his favour, because he's going to do spinning attacks, he's going to throw high kicks, where Boston Salmon's pretty much going to stay to a 1-2 combination and kind of move off, feint to the side, and then try and throw some more boxing combinations. So if it gets close, then Randy Costa might get it, but I think Boston Salmon's the better counter striker. I think over 15 minutes he's going to counter strike Costa and win via decision here. So I've got Boston Salmon.
Yeah, Boston Salmon, is he like an amateur champ or something? What did he do? He won like I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah, he did though. Yeah. Golden Glove, probably.
He's got some legit boxing skills, and you see it, like you say, he's adapted his boxing for MMA. Because just pure boxing can have its downfalls, the heavy front leg, which can obviously open up susceptible to the leg kick, etc. But he seems to really use it well. Slick movement, head movement, footwork, and that's kind of what really adds and sets up his kind of counter strikes, his footwork. He's very good at baiting you in, and then he's just gone that half a step and then comes back with the counters. I think Randy's going to come gun-ho in this in the first round. I think it'll be like the last time. The fight against Brendan, we got to remember Brendan Davis likes to get punched in the face. You know, he has got some good hand movement every now and then, Brendan Davis, but he tends to kind of be a bit, you know, take one on the chin, take a few shots and then return it, because it's almost like he's a macho thing. He likes to show that he can take the punch to then return something back. And that, I think, gave Randy false hope and gave him a false sense of security as to what his striking ability is. I think he's going to probably miss a few more with Boston. I think Boston's going to move a bit more, angle a bit more, and then Randy's probably going to be punching thin air. Now, if you're punching thin air, you're going to gas real quick because you're exerting an effort and there's no reward. And with you, I think Boston's just going to be able to land a better shots, especially after his last fight. He'd be far more switched on now, especially at the start of the fight. He won't be so relaxed and not saying cocksure of himself, but he'll be a lot more tentative and aware, especially the way Randy will probably come at him in an aggressive manner. As long as he just keeps his hands enough for the head kicks that he's going to throw, you know, especially after combinations, keep those hands up. I think Boston should be fine. Late, maybe third round stoppage, you know, just constantly. I think, you know, Boston, if I'm Boston, I'm going to rip that body up. You know, I'm going to take that body home with me, rip the liver, rip the body up of Randy for the first round, and really start to see it in the second round pay off. But I'm going to go late stoppage, maybe decision win Boston, but I'm going Boston for the win on this one.
Moving on, Kyle Bochniak against another newcomer, Sean Woodson, is up next. How do you see it going?
Yeah, interesting matchup, because I was actually a bit surprised with it, if I'm honest with you, because I think Kyle's a bad motherfucker. And I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a legit dude. So I was a bit surprised when I read it, I went, Sean Woodson, I went, who the hell's a Dana White Contender Series guy? Okay, cool. But they don't have any fear with just throwing these guys into these fights. It's really strange in a way. Um, on the regional scene, I've got to be honest with you. You know, Sean is really long and wiry. He's awkward because he's long and wiry. Now, we got that finish on Dana White Contender Series with the flying knee and all that stuff, but if you look at the guys that he's fought prior to this, they're not even a fraction of what Kyle would be. Like, if Kyle fought everyone that he had fought in his career, Kyle would murder all of them. It wouldn't even be close. So I think Sean's going to be in it for a bit of a surprise, because Sean's he's not got a lot of pace about him. Sean is quite slow, methodical, and it's a big cut for Sean as well, down to 145. He actually usually fights at 155 for some of his pro fights. He does the 145 cut, but apparently it's a bit of a hard one for him. He's fighting a guy in Kyle who's 15 minutes of energy. Active movement, footwork, kicks, punches, the lot. I think Kyle is going to show Sean a level that he's probably not on. If I'm Sean Woodson, he's probably going to go for like the flying knee stuff or the kick stuff. But Kyle, for me, man, just start the fight off, pepper the shots out, and get that takedown in. And really then start to like maybe get in half guard, control Sean for a bit, tire him out a little bit. I just don't feel there's enough output from Sean or enough pop in his punches to make me go, that guy's got power, and to maybe make Kyle back off, because even dudes who hit hard don't stop Kyle. Kyle's fought some tough guys and didn't look too far out of it, so I want Kyle here, mate. I think Kyle probably could stop Sean Woodson at some point, so I'll go Kyle all the way.
It's just about the experience, really, that Bochniak's got, because really what he brings to the table is that he's not like dangerous, but he is super effective in many when you see him. Like, he's not really a finisher. I actually think the more chance of a finish is on Woodson's side. I think with those long limbs, but the thing is as well, since he was on Dana White's show, he's probably made huge jump in skill. But of course, it's a massive step up in opponent from who he faced before. So. Like I say, Bochniak, he's win or lose, I should say, he is just a tough guy to face, and he's in your face. You're not going to put him away. But I feel he can be outstruck and kept at distance a little bit. I think we've seen that in the last two fights. I think that Zabit did it. Zabit's obviously a different class to what Sean Woodson will ever be, probably. Hakeem Dawodu, he's more of a striker who can keep you at distance and keep you at range and really pop you from there. And that's what he did in that fight. He outstruck Bochniak relatively easily and won that fight. The only thing that really Bochniak did well in that fight was get a couple of takedowns, but couldn't really keep Dawodu there and couldn't get much punishment off on him. So yeah. And you look at his wins, Barzola, I still think he lost that fight. The Davis one, I think that's definitely a win, but he's fighting in Boston. And the guy, obviously, if you're from Boston, you want to fight at home and you lift your game for that. I just think Sean Woodson could win this fight. I love what I've seen on the Dana White show. Very dangerous. I think he's got a lot of athleticism there. I think sometimes he's got a bit of a pacing issue, where if he paces himself and then when I watched his regional fights back in, I think, Shamrock FC, yeah, he started off really quick and then would kind of fade as the middle part, the late part comes in. But if he can keep himself grounded throughout the fight and have some pop towards the end, then I could think that he might be able to land some shots there. Kind of worried that Bochniak might clinch him up a little bit, but I'm willing to take a shot on Sean Woodson here to win this fight. So I've got him to win. I've got him to win the fight here, pretty much. So yeah, Sean Woodson for the win. Moving on, Molly McCann against another newcomer, and Diana Belbita, who I've known about for a little bit. Through fighting on various promotions here in Europe and facing fighters who've been in the UFC or in the UFC. But why they've signed this girl? Beyond me, honestly. I don't know what they've seen in this girl to say, look, yeah, we're going to go sign her. We're going to let guys leave our promotion, but we're going to go and sign Diana Belbita. I don't know. Yeah, you look at the people she's faced, losing records for the most part. The people with the winning records have actually went on and fought in the UFC and did whatever else. She fought Ariana Lipski in KSW, got submitted in the first. She faced a girl by the name of Christina Stanciu that if you've been around UFC for long enough, you knew that she fought in the UFC a couple of years back, and she wasn't great then. But yeah, I'm trying to think where she's actually good. She's, from what I've seen, like clinch works maybe one of her strong suits, but her striking defense is terrible. Her head doesn't move. She's there to be hit. I think maybe her jiu-jitsu's, from what I've seen, is alright, but it's against like really low caliber opposition, really really bad caliber opposition. But like I say, in the clinch, she kind of goes, fires a lot of knees, throws a lot of strikes. There's a couple of fights if you go out and watch there, but these two girls are just like throwing everything at each other. They're not really stopping. They're just throwing absolutely everything because they've got nothing else to do. But hasn't really got hand speed. Hasn't, I don't think, got the greatest chin in the world. Doesn't really move off the centre line. She's right there. She doesn't move away from you. Now, not saying that Molly McCann's a world beater, but I think this is probably her easiest fight in the UFC, I reckon. I want to say that. This girl's going to come forward and she's going to swing bombs on Molly McCann. And I think Molly McCann's just better chin, more heart, better striking, hits harder. Is very, very confident at the minute. She's got herself a couple of wins in the UFC. She looks in great spirits. And she's faced Lipsky, who took her out in a round. She dominated Ariana Lipsky, to be honest with you. Gillian Robertson, which was always going to be a tough debut in the UFC, and she got submitted in her hometown there. But I've got Molly McCann to knock this girl out in the first couple of rounds. I think she's going to insert a lot of punishment on Belbita, and she's going to stop her. If you watch the Cage Warriors fights, you've seen some people that try to stand with Molly and like just swing. It doesn't really end too well for them. She usually kind of gets the advantage, and she's got more output. Like I say, usually a better chin. And we've seen, I think, in that fight, she took down Lipsky, so she can mix it up a little bit as well. One of my more confident picks of the whole entire card is Molly McCann. I've got her to win via stoppage in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, it's a cut and shot, isn't it? Let's be honest, Diana.
Yeah.
Little fact for you there, bro. Of Diana's 17 career fights that she's had, only 3 of the opponents have a winning record.
Yeah.
So that says a lot. 14 of them have losing records or making their pro debuts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how she got a 4-fight win streak, I think it was. 4 of them, like 3 or 4 of them were all pro debuts. It's just can crush City. You know, before that she got absolutely mollywopped 3 fights in a row. She lost 3 in a row. Now, you sit there and think, why they signed her? I can tell you why, Will. 337,000 Instagram followers is a good reason for someone to get signed to the UFC. Because let's not forget, folks, the UFC isn't about the product, about your skill set. They're about the brand. If you're a brand, you're most likely getting there because all they care about is that cheddar. And that's what Diana is. She's just coming for the cheddar side of things, but Molly is going to light this girl up like a Christmas tree or 4th of July, and oh my word, she's going to land at will. And she's going to maul her. I think it's going to be... Molly's looking in great shape as well. Actually looking ripped already before she even weighs in. So she's got everything nutritional-wise. The footwork's way better. Like you say, well, better chin. I think she's got better head movement even. The boxing side of things, it's just going to be a mauling. First round, I'm going, Molly's going to destroy her. Easy money, folks. But Molly McCann all day long, bro.
Moving on, Charles Rosa makes his return to the UFC as he faces off against Manny Bermudez, who makes his move up to 145. How do you see this one going with 2 guys who are from the Massachusetts area? So this is going to be a fun one.
It is going to be a fun one. Man, it's an interesting one because Rosa's been out for what always seems like forever. He's so inconsistent with his fighting. I know he's a chef, so he's smart because he's thinking about his career outside of the UFC as well because he still works as a chef. But at the same time, he's such a stop-start kind of fighter. There's no consistency with Rosa, you know, and he's not any younger. I think he's like early 30s, something like that.
I think it's closer to mids, yeah. So
yeah, you know, he's on a losing record, so to speak, within the UFC. He beat Sean Sereno, which and he beat Kyle, But other than that, he lost to, he lost to Dennis Seaver, which was short notice step in. Then he lost to Yair Rodriguez, tough guy to fight in Shane Burgos. He didn't look bad in the Shane Burgos fight. He did not look bad. He looked active. He was landing some good shots, but he was just getting hit. It's not going to be a standing fight. Charles Rose is good on the ground, but I think Manny's just going to want to get the takedown. I think Manny's got good hands on him. Manny's happy to throw heavy to get the fight down. I want to see what Manny's like at 145. He's big at 135, has a hard weight cut. It might benefit him. I think the advantage of him for Manny in this fight is that he didn't long fight. It wasn't that long ago that fought. I think he fought, it was August or something like that. But Charles Rose is 2 years. 2 years and a bit. That's a long time out. If I'm Manny, man, I want to put pressure on Charles Rose. I want to get the pressure on him, get the heart rate up, get him blood pumping. Try and gas this kid out. Try and gas this guy out. Work hard. Press. Keep the pressure on him. And just grapple. Grapple, that's it. Just get clinch work, grapple work, tire Charles out as quick as I can. I'm going Manny Bermudez, man. I think at the start, Charles Rose is going to have a bit of energy, a bit of zest about him. But I think as the fight progresses, I think Charles will start to kind of slow down a bit. I think Manny's going to have the opportunities to land maybe heavy strike and get the takedown or grapple side of things. So I'm going to go Manny with submission potentially here, but but I think it'll be a fun grappling bout on the ground. But I'm going to go Manny to win.
Charles Rosa, 2.5 years he's been away. I think he's had a couple of surgeries in there. So I think he's going to come back a little bit rusty. I think it's going to happen. I know he's been out in Thailand kind of fixing his striking a little bit. And if you look at that Burgos fight, I think he was winning that fight until he got caught in the third round. So there's no shame in losing to Burgos because Burgos is really good. But he showed that he can stand up with some big hitting strikers. And obviously his kind of bread and butter is his ground game, because usually in pretty much all of his fights he takes fights to the mat. If not, it comes really, really close, like the Bochniak fight, which I still think he won that one. I think it was a little bit closer than he initially made it out to be. But you look at the Rodriguez fight, I know he lost that one. He got takedowns at will there. Soriano fight, he did the same. Dennis Seaver, he did the same. But Manny's still going to be the bigger guy here, even though he's moving up the division. He's got the longer reach, he's bigger in height. I think it's good for him that he's moving up because he was not making 135. So that loss to Casey Kenny is not, I don't think, the worst thing in the world for Manny. His striking needs improvement. It's always been the same with Manny Bermudez, but he is so opportunistic on the ground with Darcy's, with any opportunity that he gets. And Rosa's a black belt, so this is going to be interesting to see if Rosa decides to take him to the ground, because looking at the people that Rosa's fought, this is the hardest guy jiu-jitsu wise that he's probably faced, and he's very opportunistic, and that Manny Bermudez, that's probably where he wants to be. If he can get in the top position, I think he wins this fight. If he's on the bottom and Charles Rosa can maybe grind him out like Casey Kenny did, I think that's probably what he has to do actually to win the fight, or maybe keep it in the feet and maybe he outboxes him. But I like Manny Bermudez. I think he's so sneaky with his subs. I think he's so good with him as well that I think Charles Rosa just might fall into something. So I've got Manny Bermudez via submission in that one there. Moving on to the main card, in the middleweight division, interesting fight. This is one I'm looking forward to. Deron Winn against the Dentist, Darren and Stewart. There's been some back and forward with these two guys for many months. Yeah. To say the least, after pretty much Deron Winn's UFC debut when he beat Eric Spicely. And what I say was, I really enjoyed that fight with Eric Spicely. Spicely has made improvements on his striking. Maybe Deron Winn's striking defense is probably lacking, but he came out there and he was going gung-ho after Eric Spicely. I don't think he's got much power behind him, but he can take a shot and he can throw in big shots himself. But like I said in my own prediction show, it's he didn't show his strongest skill set. He didn't even try one time to get this fight to the mat. He just wanted to stand and strike. And Darren Stewart comes out and I think he says something like, "You can't take me down." Dude, you're just baiting him now to come out there and instantly take you down. And if you watch Darren Stewart's fights, a few of them, to be fair, Darren Stewart's good takedown artists as well. If you watch his Cage Warriors days, that's what he used to do. Massive ground and pound off his takedowns, and he used to kill guys with that. But then you come in, Barroso took him down 7 times, Shabazian took him down 8 times. They guys aren't grapplers, and they're definitely not grapplers of the level of Deron Winn. I've got Deron Winn, personally. I like Darren Stewart a lot. I think we both like Darren Stewart a lot. And he's shown that he's made some improvements. I think he's going to be one of these guys who's always going to win 2 fights, lose 1, but he'll always kind of rebound. I think he's going to lose this one. I know he's coming off the Bivol and Lewis win, which is a really nice win for him. But I think Deron Winn's going to come out here, and I actually think he's going to ragdoll him a little bit, and I think he's going to show him what a real wrestler looks like. And like I said, he's been taken down 7, 8 times before in a UFC fight. It would not surprise me if we got by those numbers and even north of that. So I've got Deron Winn. Like I say, not much power, not much striking. Not much striking. I shouldn't really say that because he threw like 160 strikes and landed 160 signature strikes in his last fight. So the guy's got some striking, not big power, but I think he's going to show his real skill set here and win this one. Decision, probably. But I've got Deron Winn for the W here.
Yeah, I think it was a smart decision for Winn against Spicely, because Spicely's good on the ground.
Yeah, he is.
As much as people slight on Spicely, the dude does get wins on the ground. So it was probably a smart move by Winn. He kind of thought, well, look, I'm not the best striker, but neither Spicely. It's probably a safer bet for me to stay on the feet than it is to go on the ground with the wrestling and potentially get an accidental guillotine in or something like that. So it was a smart move. Man, Darren needs to... Oh my gosh, he needs to be so careful. He needs to time his punches, not overextend, not overcommit. Forget leg kicks. I wouldn't even waste a time on a leg kick with this one. Wouldn't even bother wasting it. Fret with the uppercuts to kind of keep Winn on his tail, keep Winn kind of second guessing if an uppercut's coming, if he shoots in. Man, it's hard. It's hard to pick Darren. I like Darren as a person. He's a really great guy. He has improved. He's shown a lot of good things, like his conditioning is a lot better now as well. But I think that Winn is a high-level wrestler, and Winn kind of reminds me in a way, like, I know he trains DC, but DC and Khabib, where if you're good at something, why not use it? What's the point in doing something else that you're not bad at when you're elite at something? And he is an elite grappler, Winn. In respect to that middleweight division, he's easily already in the elite level of the grappling aspect. If I'm Winn, I'm just going to do I want to do 15 minutes, because he's got 15 minutes in him of that. Has Darren Stewart got 15 minutes of wrestling and striking after that to get him to points back onto his side? I don't believe he does yet. I know Darren's been down at Team Titan, etc. and everyone, but I'm not sure who he's really been training with, because we know that Winn has got a couple of good wrestlers to train with at AKA. You know, I know Cain Velasquez has went over to the WWE, but he's been training with Cain Velasquez for years, who was an exceptional wrestler. Daniel Cormier, Khabib, Islam Makhachev. There's just a list of these guys who are high-level wrestlers who he's training with and always wrestling with and getting them down. Then he's training with high-level strikers, your Luke Rockholds as well. So he's got a great mixture around him. I'm going to go with Winn. I think he can use this low centre of gravity and power and just grind out that 3 rounds. I give kudos to Darren. I think he's tough. He can endure a fight. He's a lot better conditioned. But I'm going to go Winn with the decision. Not enjoying saying that out loud, but I'm going to go that way.
Women's flyweight division. This is another good fight. Maycee Barber faces off against Gillian Robertson. I think it's going to be a fun fight. How do you see it going down?
This is one of my hardest ones to pick, if I'm honest with you. I get a bit stuck because Maycee Barber is a young gun with zero fear. Just comes out swinging. She's not the best striker. Just going to put it out there. She just swings big hooks and lands them because you're wearing the 4-ounce gloves. It's hard to block them. Like the JJ Aldridge fight, I was like, JJ Aldridge could have easily moved out the way of some of them strikes, but she just didn't move out the way in time. It was really frustrating. Some of Maycee Barber's fakes are not that great, but she does come out with a strong, aggressive manner. So she keeps you on your back foot. when she's mounted, she's pretty devastating on top. But she's fighting a girl in Gillian Roberts who I think kind of just goes right under the radar of everyone. The girl's quiet, she comes in, she does her job, she goes home, improves, comes back and does it again. Gillian Roberts she can get you down, she can submit you, she's got nasty ground and pound now, she can actually throw her hands a little bit too to bait you in to get the takedown. Like the Molly fight, like you said, Molly was aggressive and Gillian just took the opportunity to go, cool, you overly aggressive, I'm going to shoot and get you down. Maycee is there for the takedown. Maycee's quite aggressive with her striking and she's quite upright. When she comes to strike, she comes up a little bit posture-wise up, and I think Gillian's there for the takedown. I'm going for Gillian Robertson for the win, because I think she'll just get the fight to the ground. She's shown it against strikers before that she'll get the fight to the ground. Look at the Frotter fight. Frotter's a better grappler than her, and she held her own in that fight. So I'm going to go with Gillian Robertson, but I'm not overly confident because Maycee just has to land one of those big looping hooks. And that's it. Gillian Robertson might go, oof, don't like that, I'm out. But I worry that Maycee Barber's a little bit distracted with the whole Paige Van Zandt thing as well. That's another thing of mine. It's kind of bugged me a bit that there was a lot of focus away from this fight. I'm not saying that Maycee's not talking about that fight or interested, but when that stuff pops up, you think, how much are you thinking about the here and now rather than the future? So yeah, I'm going to go with Gillian Robertson. Probably maybe submission, because she's just a ninja. She's good, and when she gets you back, it's going to be a hard time for you to get her off your back. So I'm going to go with Gillian Robertson, but don't be shocked if Maycee comes in with a big looping hook and wins it.
Just two girls that finish fights.
Yeah,
they're finish or be finished. So for me, this fight's going to end. Either Gillian Robertson's going to find her back on the bottom and submit her, or Maycee Barber's going to turn it up and knock her out inside the first couple of rounds. The one fight I looked at quite close was the Bueno Silva one for Gillian Robertson. Like, when she can't get off her stuff on the ground, you've got opportunities to also get off in this girl as well. So a striking, that's Maycee Barber all day long. Groundwork, you would have to probably, we've seen more from Gillian Robertson. So you're going to favour someone like that, I would think. If it hits the ground and she's in a dominant position, if she's in like a 50-50, Maycee might be a little bit stronger, a little bit more athletic to kind of jump out of a position like that. Maycee starts a little bit slow in my opinion, but once she starts to pick it up, the girl's a destroyer. And you've seen that with the J.J. Aldridge fight. Once she hits you with something and she starts to gain momentum, you can't get the girl off you. And I think for this camp, she predominantly did it at Rufus Sport, so her striking, I think it's going to be a little bit more refined. I think it's going to be a little bit more technical. Not as much gung-ho as we've seen in the past. The question is her grappling. If she doesn't get taken down, she wins this fight. If she gets taken down, there's a good opportunity Gillian Robertson gets her. I just think Maycee Barber's just... I've got Maycee Barber. I think she's going to turn up, and Gillian really hasn't got much on her feet, and I think once Maycee starts stuffing takedowns, then it's just going to be a world of hurt for Gillian Robertson. So I've got Maycee Barber to win inside the first two rounds there. Moving on, Joe Lauzon against Jonathan Pearce. I think this is Joe Lauzon's last fight. I think it makes sense. Boston, his home state. If he doesn't, then I'll be a little bit disappointed. And then he's facing off against Jonathan Pearce here, who's like 7-3, very, very green fighter, in my opinion. Very green. I think some of the things he's got going his tool belt is he's very durable, and he can keep a pace for 15 minutes. But when I look at his skill sets, I don't think they're great. So the way I kind of read it, this fight, is that I think Joe Lauzon's got like 5 minutes here to finish this fight. If it goes into the second and third, I think Jonathan Pearce could really start to come into it and potentially win rounds through that. But I'm going to go Joe Lauzon. I'm going to take a shot on Joe Lauzon, and I think he's going to actually finish this guy in the first round. I think that if he can get him to the ground, I think he is light years ahead with his jiu-jitsu. And I think that's where he has a definitive advantage. If he can get it there, though, that's the thing. He needs to fight smart, don't fight silly, get the fight to the ground. And I think he can submit this guy, because we all know that Joe Lauzon's very opportunistic with his submissions. The durability of him has kind of went out the window recently. So if you hit him with a couple of good shots, he folds. I don't think Jonathan Pearce is like an elite striker or elite guy with pressure or anything. So I think that he's going to give Joe Lauzon enough respect in this one where he might just let Joe Lauzon fight his fight. I've got Joe Lauzon first round submission. That's where I'm going with that one there.
Yeah, Joe Lauzon's been in the UFC since 2006.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. And yeah, he's got to put the bloody gloves away. He's losing too many now, and they're literally getting to the point where they're giving someone like Jonathan Pearce to him. If I'm Joe Lauzon, I'd be like, who the fuck is Jonathan Pearce? I'm not gonna fight someone like that. But at the same time, it's like, well, we're trying to give you the best opportunity to win on your home ground, you know, and so it's not like trying to give him a gimme, but they're trying to give him a fight that he can go on a shield with and walk out there, you know, and be proud to have a one win at least and go out that way. Jonathan Pearce, he's not got the worst boxing. It's not the worst, but he has this thing where he goes back to the same few punches, so it's a bit telegraphed. He's not the hardest hitter. He had a big output. He has a big output which doesn't knock guys out. So I think he probably is the more. But what he does do is he uses strikes, but he kind of likes to clinch and then throw uppercuts and stuff like that. If you're in uppercut range, well, that means Joe Lauzon's in grappling range, because that means Joe Lauzon can grab you, get you down, and start going for submissions. If I'm Joe Lauzon, just do that. You know, keep your hands up. Wait for Pearce to close that distance, grab him, pull him, get him down, and just start to go for that win. So I'm going Joe Lauzon submission. Just be smart, get it to the ground, get on top, and just submit the guy. Or obviously finish with TK, ground and pound. But I'd like Joe Lauzon to get away with a finish, submission win, and just. How can you not like Joe Lauzon as well, Will? How can you not like him? Come on, everyone's got to pick a Lauzon win here. Come on, we need it. We need one for him.
Well, they're trying to set him up here. Like, if he wants one more win before he calls it a day in Boston, this has got to be it. I think he has to know he's going to come out and get him. But Greg Hardy, Ben Sosoli, who you got? Because you're usually quite quick with these ones.
Yeah, Sosoli's going to win because I don't pick scumbags. That's it.
And if you listen to previous breakdowns from John, he's usually on the other side, and it doesn't last any longer than 5 seconds. I usually go to the other side, and he got the Crowder one. I've got the last couple, but I've got Greg Hardy here.
I know how I was going to go. I'm just not going to pick the scumbag, subhuman scum. I'd kick him in the dick if I met him.
I don't think anybody. I think they set him up, Greg Hardy, until he reaches that top 15. And then that's when you might see him kind of struggle a little bit. But he's putting all his eggs in this one here. Sosoli, I think he was on the Tough Show, the Heavy Hitters one, coming out of Australia, like 7-2. But I think the power, the athleticism, I think he's putting in more time than what Sosoli is. So I've got Greg Hardy first round knockout there. Co-main event, a rematch of something that went down 3 weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yair Rodriguez faces off against Jeremy Stephens. If you watched the show a couple of weeks back, you know that I was on Yair Rodriguez. I'm not going to change my pick after a 10-second fight. But this is going to be interesting. It's obviously over the 3 rounds, so it might be a little bit more. Maybe, especially being in Mexico, they might have paced themselves a little bit more. Maybe down in here. And it's only a couple of weeks after, and Stephens will still be in great shape from that fight. So he will maybe come out gung-ho, a little bit more aggressive than initially he was going to in Mexico, try and conserve energy. So he maybe plays into the wheelhouse of maybe getting caught with someone Rodriguez, or he starts to put on Rodriguez and he doesn't really like it as much. So I'm going to stick with Rodriguez. I think he beats him over a 15-minute fight. I think he lands the more damaging strikes. There's no way I can really change my kind of pick after what happened in a 10-second fight, and it was a weird thing in Mexico. Obviously, the crowd were going off. Yair was acting like a kid. He was trying to square up to Bisping, which was the funniest thing everything, because he was going to get his fucking arse handed to him if he did it. Bisping was just looking at him like, dude, that's shit bigger things than you. So,
I've got one eye and I'll still knock you out.
I can't change my pick after like a 10-second fight, so I've got Yair via decision, but it might change a little bit. Jeremy might come after him a little bit more in this fight compared to the first one, just in case he was conserving himself in Mexico. But Yair Rodriguez for the win for me.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Stephens, even though it's down to 3 rounds, which kind of made me think twice about it. because I thought maybe then now Stevens doesn't get the 5 rounds. I think Stevens over 5 rounds is a far more suitable fight for him. He could absolutely just outpace Rodriguez all day. But this maybe just changed the way he just goes, right, I'm going to come at you. That's it. I'm coming. I'm coming at it for 3 rounds. I'm going hard, chin down, go close the distance. So I'm going to stick with Stevens. Go for Stevens for the win. Yeah, pretty much not much different than the other one. I thought maybe he'll just keep the high output because he's got 2 more rounds that he trained for, which he's going to have to use in those 3 rounds instead. So rather than throw X amount, throw a bit more and just keep going.
So we're on to the main event now, and we've got a previous UFC champion moving up a weight division after a kind of rough time at 185 and being injured and so on. But we've got Dominick Reyes, one of the young guns, coming through at 205, facing off against Chris Weidman here, introduced him to 205. Interesting main event. Really, I'm really intrigued by the main event. How do you see it going down?
I'm with you as well. It is interesting because you think to yourself, well, Rockhold didn't look bad against Jacare.
Yeah.
His boxing actually did look really good. He was landing some good shots. Obviously, Jacare just started to get the timing down for the counters. Those body shots in the second round were huge. But what you've got to look at is that he's fighting a southpaw in Reyes. And that's where it might change a little bit for Weidman, where he might have a bit more difficulty with the southpaw side of things. The Rockhold fight is a good one. I think that Weidman, it's crazy to think that he went on a streak, beat Anderson Silva, and it has not went well for him. It's like he got cursed losing to Anderson Silva. It was like the worst thing for him. It was weird. His career's just never been the same in that way. I know he beat Machida and Vitor, but Vitor wasn't a big win. Vitor was just jacked off his skills on anything you can imagine of. But like Luke Rockhold, Yoel Romero, Gegard Mousasi and Jacare have all stopped him. He's been stopped 4 times in his last 5 fights. That's a big... In the last 4 years, he's been stopped by a powerful man, a few times. And that Yoel Romero knockout was disgusting. Rockhold punched his skull into the ground as well before the end of the round, if you remember that as well. So yeah, man, he's just been hurt. And Dominick Reyes, the Volkanovski fight was Volkan Oezdemir fight. Sorry, Volkan Oezdemir. It was an interesting fight because he showed holes, but he showed perseverance to get through that fight and win. He's had time to go away. He's not, what was that, March or something, London card, wasn't it? So he's had a good 6 months. He's had time to train, sharpen those skills that were maybe not as good as they were. I think Reyes looks good on the feet. I think he's got a 1-inch reach disadvantage to Weidman, but he's taller though. He's a taller fighter. I think he's got good body kicks. Weidman's susceptible to those body kicks. I would absolutely invite those leg kicks, the head kicks and the body kicks if I'm Reyes. Use them at the end of your combinations to kind of catch out Weidman. Because I'd be testing Weidman's chin. He looked good in the Jacare fight, but it did show that it did go. And that was in the 3rd round. It's a 5-round fight. Long time to pick your shots for Reyes. Weidman, for me, you're not a bad striker, but you're a very good wrestler. Why not go back to what you should do? Go back to your bread and butter. I think Reyes is going to be bigger, physically, because he's cutting down to 205. I think Weidman will cut, obviously, to 205, but I don't think he'll fill out as much as Reyes. So there'll be maybe a speed, and maybe his endurance might be a bit better. But if I'm Weidman, I'm going to try and use some wrestling, man. That's it. That's how he's going to win. But I'm going for Reyes. I think Reyes can outlast Weidman and can land something like a head kick, body kick, and just really hurt Weidman and maybe get him into the latter rounds. Because I just don't feel I'm comfortable with Weidman's chin. You can't get knocked out 4 times in 4 years and your chin be all good. The countless surgeries that Weidman has to have, or the injuries, it feels like a Cain Velasquez all over again. Great champ, great run, injuries galore, getting stopped. It's just not working. Can't get the rhythm. Can't get back in the sync. Luke Rockhold tried to come up as well. Didn't quite work for him. I'm going to go Reyes. I think this is a good fight for Reyes as well. For the UFC, for the Reyes kind of brand, young, upcoming talent, getting a win over a former champ, perfect. I'm going to go Reyes, late round stoppage, maybe 4th or 5th.
Yeah, there's a lot of disrespect out there, I think, for Chris Weidman in this fight. I really do. I think that people are completely writing him off. I'm seeing a lot of people, I'm going to max bet, like Dominick Reyes, he's going to run through Chris Weidman. And I don't really see it that way. I really don't. I think that Chris Weidman has a path to victory, a clear path to victory, but he also has some very bad things in that could show up again in this fight, i.e. taking shots, because I think his durability is a little bit ropey. You've seen that in the Jackery fight where he was winning that fight and he was going to win that fight.
Yeah.
And all it takes is a half-decent shot and then the durability is gone. Now, that might work out better at 205, but also look, Rockhold went up to 205 and that durability didn't really look that great up there either. So, and then you're facing a guy who's a power hitter, big puncher. Like you say, he knows where he wins this fight. If it stays standing, you have to really heavily favour Dominick Reyes. But if it hits the mat, I think that Chris Weidman can keep him there. And then you've got a black belt, a legit black belt in Chris Weidman against a blue belt in Dominick Reyes. That's a big jump. Big jump. And Weidman is regarded for his jiu-jitsu. If you go on YouTube and you watch some of the high-end black belts, just talking of black belts there, just seen that Jack Shaw just got promoted to being a black belt. So congrats to Jack Shaw.
Nice.
And like people talk about Chris Weidman as having really good jiu-jitsu, and but the durability is a big factor. I think he's had neck surgery, I want to say, in the last year.
He had the thumb before that as well.
Yeah, and he's had and ever since he lost the belt to Luke Rockhold, he hasn't looked the same fighter. He took, I think Herb Dean did him no favours in that fight by letting him take too many shots, and that's really back to haunting. Dominick Reyes, I don't want to say he was lucky against Volkan. I thought that it could have went either way. It was a close fight.
I thought he adjusted in the later rounds to some of the mistakes he made in the first round, where he just came back into his favour. One thing I noticed, Will, he did get up pretty well from the takedowns.
He did. That's what he does. Yeah, he's got decent takedown defence, but once he gets down, he gets back up really quick.
Yeah.
He's a big dude to hold down as well. I'm not writing off Chris Weidman, but I'm not pick him here. I think that if he can keep him down and avoid the big power in the first couple of rounds, then I think he's got a great chance to maybe win the fight via decision or maybe a submission later on. But I think if Reyes, if he gets taken down and gets back up and he starts landing strikes, then I think that's going to really diminish Chris Weidman as the fight goes on. So I've got Dominick Reyes via stoppage in that third, fourth round kind of part of the fight there. So that's our picks for UFC Boston. Let us know who you're picking in the main event, and just in general, let us know who you're picking for every fight, even if you want to make a list. And we'll see how our list kind of match up by the end. I'm going to go into the betting side of things here. I'm going to tell you some bets. I've got one bet already. I'm probably going to have 3 or 4 for this one. I like a lot of the lines.
Diana Winn, are you?
Nah. The one bet I do have already is Deron Winn. I bet he was an underdog against Darren Stewart, can you believe?
Get out of town.
Yeah, he was an underdog as of yesterday. So now it's minus 110 apiece, so it's a pick 'em fight. Whichever way you want to go, go for it pretty much. So I bet Deron Winn. I'm pretty confident and comfortable with that bet. A lot of closely matched lines in here. So, like, Dominick Reyes is like minus 155. I don't think I'm going to bet that fight, but I can see that line maybe getting a little closer as the week goes on. The Yair Rodriguez one, it's minus 110. He was an underdog in America, but he hasn't hit that over here yet. He's minus 105 in the UK at the minute. I really want to bet Yair Rodriguez across 3 rounds in this one, so there's a chance I might bet that. Maycee Barber is another call. Like, that's a closely matched fight. Gillian Robertson's plus 100 as an underdog. Maycee Barber's minus 120. That might get close to being dog money for Maycee Barber by the way the line's been going. It's come way down from Robertson being a big underdog to her now being close to a favoured or a pick 'em fight. So, I like that. There is.
What's Brady's odds?
Brady he's minus 235, so he's a big underdog actually. So Court McGee's plus 195, so that's actually some value on McGee there, considering the amount of fights he's had in the UFC and how durable he is. So,
what was the Salmon Costa one? Sorry.
Salmon is minus 170, plus 150 on Randy Costa.
Okay.
I don't want anything to do with that fight. I just for me, if I was going to pick that fight, I know I picked Boston Salmon, but if I was to bet that fight, I'd probably bet the underdog actually and take a shot there. But I don't think this is really a parlay card. I think we were talking before we went on here. You wanted to bet Molly McCann, but like minus 400, you're not going to do that.
No.
But if you pick her inside the distance, she's plus 225. I don't know what the knockout prop will be, maybe minus plus 150 or whatever. But plus 225 for Molly McCann to beat this girl. I think she can stop this girl personally. And that's bad to say because women's fights sometimes don't usually finish. But I think Molly's got a great opportunity to finish this fight here. I really, really do. But other fights like Greg Hardy's minus 280, that's a parlay piece if you want to use it. It's hard to put in with other people in here with that. Joe Lauzon's an underdog, plus 110.
Oh, is he? All right, okay.
Yeah, he's an underdog to this newcomer here, which I can see why, but...
Yeah, the record he's got at the moment, the past few years,
I would bet him at that, but me, it looks like a straight shooting, like, picks card. There's no parlays for me that really jump out at me that I like. But there's a lot of closely lined fights that if you like and you see a certain side and you can get plus money on it, then by all means go for it. But like I say, just looking at it here, I've got Deron Winn. There's a good chance Yair Rodriguez, Maycee Barber is another one that I like, and then the other one I'm not too sure where I'm going to go. If I go there, maybe Joe Lauzon. Maybe I might bet him. And it's not the greatest bet in the world, but you're getting dog money against an old vet, against a young guy coming in who's got so much more experience over. I mean, the guy's got 10 fights, and Joe Lauzon's been in the UFC for
600 years,
14, 15 years. So, yeah.
I would like to know what would be for Greg Hardy and Molly McCann's fight inside the distance. That would be an interesting one. The pair of them together, that would be good to see what that would come out as.
Let me see. I'm on 5 dimes at the minute, so let's see what they've got for that. I think you could probably easily get plus money. So, Don Hardy. Greg Hardy wins inside the distance is minus 175.
And she's plus 225, isn't she, inside the distance?
So you're going to get decent odds on that. Wins inside the distance. Oh, shit. Actually, plus 411.
There you go.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about that, like a prop bet inside the distance for them too.
Yeah, if you're betting depending on what you're betting, that's not a bad thing to throw a little bit of cheese on and seeing that coming at 41. So, not bad at all. Like you're getting some value on the McCann one, I think.
Yeah.
But it might be one of those bets later on in the week that you look at Molly McCann to win by knockout or decision. You might get a decent number in that.
Absolutely, yeah. I was just thought about the inside because we had those odds. Hopefully, I was curious to see what they would come out as.
Yeah, but like I say, for me, it's a straight shooting week with straight picks. But no, that's not a bad looking bet there. Maybe you throw a wee side bet on something like that. So, yeah. So that is our picks for UFC Boston. Our little bets that we're talking about there. And we're going to be back next week for the Singapore card. It's a kind of grappling fest. In the main event, you've got Damian Maia, the Jits whiz, against the wrestling whiz, and Ben Askren, who's coming back after that knockout. Yeah, cheeky knockout. So that'll be a fun card. It's going to probably be early in the UK here, and then we're UFC 244, which is going to be one of the biggest cards of the year. So from John, myself, like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the support. Leave your picks down below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. And we'll see you next week for UFC Singapore. Until then, all the very best.